Good afternoon, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for Saturday, August 30, 2025. And in the news this afternoon, man shot dead in bizarre incident involving wife in upscale spalling community. Police are trying to determine the circumstances which led to a man being shot dead at his home in the upscale community of Gleno in Spalding, Clarendon on Thursday night. The victim has been identified as Dean Melville, 62, an architect and resident of Mimosa Drive in Gleno. According to a police report, sometime after 9 p.m., Melville was at home with his family when he was shot in the neck. His wife told the detectives that he was asleep when she observed that his licensed firearm was positioned on a nightstand where his phone is normally kept. She told the detectives that while attempting to move the weapon, her husband awoke and grabbed the gun, which then went off, hitting him in his neck. The injured man was rushed to the Percy Junior Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Police are awaiting the outcome of an autopsy and a ballistics examination to determine whether the incident was an accidental shooting. The incident has so far been classified as a homicide. No major glitches out west as members of security forces and election day workers vote. There were no major glitches yesterday as members of the security forces and election day workers in western Jamaica cast their ballots ahead of next Wednesday's general election, which will see the ruling Jamaica Labour Party locking horns with the opposition People's National Party. Charles Sinclair, Deputy General Secretary of the JLP, with responsibility for Area Council 4, which includes St. James, Trelawney, Hanover, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth, told the news that his visits to polling stations confirmed a smooth process. He noted, however, that some police personnel of varying ranks in St. James arrived at their polling station without a voter identification, causing long queues as the presiding officers were required to administer the oath of identity, which involved fingerprinting. At the Montego Bay Police Station polling station, I saw a line which was a little unusual, but everything was going smoothly, said Sinclair. The delays were explained by electoral officers who said some police personnel did not have their IDs, so they had to be processed before voting, but the voters were patiently waiting and there was no anxiety. As it relates to one-day workers in St. James and Trelawney, he said there were a few cases of logistical hiccups as some poll clerks and temporary police officers were inadvertently left off the list. Sinclair said he raised the issue with the senior officials at the Electoral Office of Jamaica, who are expected to explore solutions to ensure those affected can exercise their franchise on September 3. Sinclair said he was also not entirely pleased with the enthusiasm with which he said he was greeted when he visited one of the locations where members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force were voting. I prefer for them not to reflect a political allegiance or favoritism. They must always maintain an objective approach, he said, noting that some officers were over-enthusiastic in greeting him, which he interpreted as a positive sign for his party. I've never been wrong in reading it, he added, referencing the body language of voters that left him feeling optimistic. However, he also cautioned against making assumptions about voting patterns within the security forces. You must not run out and say the police voted this way or that way. You don't know that until after the general poll, he said. Colin Hitchman, chairman of the PNP's Region 6, which covers parts of western Jamaica, also described the days of voting as encouraging for his party. Everybody was upbeat and meeting their targets, Hitchman said, referencing how accurately his party's indoor and outdoor agents were able to correctly canvass those who voted for the PNP. We are very positive at this time, so positive that we will see a new Prime Minister in Jamaica House on Thursday, the 4th of September, Hitchman said, though noting that some electors were frustrated by slower than expected voting procedures. It was more about people's expectation that they would just drop in and drop out. When they had to join a line, they were surprised, he said. Assistant Commissioner of Police Gleno Miller, who heads the Area 1 formation of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, said the overall operations proceeded as planned. Voting for the day started smoothly and it ended smoothly. We had no reports of any incidents at the polling stations, Miller told the news, while confirming reports of bomb threats earlier in the day, which did not disrupt the voting process. In addition to regular police officers, ballots were also cast by members of the Jamaica Defense Force, district constables, polling station security assistants, and election day workers. While he did not provide supporting figures, Miller said all officers in the Area 1 region were given the opportunity to vote. Every one of my officers across the 4 parishes, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland, were informed and given the opportunity to cast their ballot if they so desired, he said. Concerns mount as deported Jamaican and others languish in Eswatini. Eswatini-based attorneys are among groups challenging the kingdom's decision to host non-national convicts who the U.S. says are so barbaric that their home countries refused their return. It comes weeks after the controversial deportation of 5 men, including Jamaican-born Orville Etoria, to Eswatini. The Jamaican government now says it is pushing for his early repatriation. Described by the government as diplomatically sensitive, Orville Etoria, the Jamaican man deported to Eswatini, has now spent over a month in a country he has never called home. The man, described as a reformed convict in an editorial by New York Carib News, has been displaced by default due to his almost 30-year-old convictions. Since then, the Jamaican government has remained largely silent on the matter, offering limited details as questions continue to mount. In July, when Radio Jamaica's Naskinsky Robinson sought answers from Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, she gave the repeated refrain, "No headline will help." But developments in Eswatini suggest that the situation is far more than a diplomatic back and forth. Human rights attorneys, along with other advocacy groups in the southern African nation, have taken the Eswatini kingdom to its high court, challenging the constitutionality of the deportation, which involved 5 foreign nationals, including Mr. Etoria. The matter was filed on August 14. Eswatini-based lead attorney Mazwande Mazuko told the news there are serious questions surrounding arbitrary detention and a lack of due process.
The long and short of our application speaks to bringing the deported individuals to Swaziland, keeping them in custody without them having access to attorneys through an agreement that has not been vetted by Parliament as per our Constitution. We are also specific in calling upon the Commissioner for Correctional Services to also demonstrate what legislation enables her to keep these deported individuals. To take a person that has already served their sentence and place them in a maximum correctional facility is in itself something that is worth questioning.
What is the typical treatment of persons who are held in that sort of facility?
For other clients, and it's not nice, whether you're dealing about the environment, the issue of the food, the treatment, the overcrowding.
Guys, thank you for watching. See you this evening at 6 p.m. for another news update.